Hey, how's everyone doing? Welcome to another stream, one of our class streams. I will ramble for a couple of minutes while we wait for everyone to get in. Um, but yeah, is everything clear with sound? Hopefully, I'm trying Notion on a different thing, like on the browser rather than the browser app this time to see if that helps. But hopefully, this stream is planned to not need the Notion document that much, although it is included in the chat and in the description already. It's just the same as the previous ones, but replace the 2 with the 3. So, easy enough to remember. But yeah, so this week, we were kind of talking, we're like, I kind of did a bit of improvisation this week with the kind of showing kind of a bit of brainstorming and stuff within a dedicated novel. And I thought, oh, what if we like actually dive into this and like see how a template novel can work, like with prompts, and basically go as far as we can in the creation process without needing to think about prompting or like changing prompts and just like using the general purpose and like templates of like questions and stuff. So yeah, that's my kind of thoughts for today. Hello, Jean-Luc, Emery, Paul the Man. Okay, well that's good if it's sounding good. And Vicky. So yeah. And if at any point any of you like have ideas for more prompts to add to this collection, please just like ping me and let me know, and we can see. No, not a new mic at all. This is the same mic I've been using for the last 6 months. I've not changed any settings either. I'm just hoping that not having Notion open is helping. Less programs open. Oh, hello, Andy, Blink for 9, Neurosplice. Yeah, so if you have any more ideas for templates, hit me up, and we can add them to the Notion document. But the Notion doc that is linked has essentially all the plotting, all of the Codex entries that we're going to be using in this, so that you don't have to worry about asking or copying anything down. They're already there. You can just copy and paste them into your Codex and like take the ones you need, leave the ones you don't. Like, I know I say that a lot, but I really think it's important that like this isn't going to work for everyone because everyone's different. And so, pick the things that help your process and, see if you can adapt the things that don't. So, I'm going to start with kind of walking you through how I made this. I think that's probably the first kind of takeaway. And then from that, we can go into like using it and kind of showing the versatility. So we have, I mean, thank you, Vicky. I mean, we're the official channel, so it's good that we're we're a good channel to learn that in. But yeah, so template collection book. So this is just a novel I made. There are no chapters or anything here. This is just purely for the template collection. I'm just gonna expand this a bit and then I'll open up the Codex entry. So I have essentially, if I go, okay, cog, display, settings, collapse all, I've essentially made Codex categories and for different parts of the writing process. So analysis, character creation, plotting, world building, writing. If I go into custom categories, you can see they're here. They are all tagged for the series. So it means when I duplicate the book, I still have it. And I give them all a associated custom detail. So I go add detail, category, and then choose the tag. And this means that I don't have to kind of add a tag here. I can just give them the custom detail and it carries over. I've technically given it all associated tag types, but I only use others. That was more just a laziness in that it didn't affect anything. So I was just like, well, I'll just leave it. And then if you go into custom details, I have one custom detail, which is category. It's a drop-down option with the series scope again. And if we go into options, I've essentially added each of these categories as a potential option. So they then correlate with the categories here. Then, every time I make a new Codex entry, I will name it. I will give an alias to it. So you'll notice that I've gone for like 1 child, parent, adult, 2 like, care, love, because I'm wanting it in order that I'll use them. But obviously I don't want to be typing that in all the time. And so I add an alias of like the version without the number. So it means I never have to type that in. Then I will go add field. Let me show you on I'll go add detail, category, and select the category it's in. And that automatically moves the Codex entry into the category. So I have analysis for like analyzing the writing. I have character creation, both for kind of general creation of like a cast of characters, but also naming conventions if I want to role play with characters. Like want, fear, need, like character contradictions, various different types of like prompts that you can use with it. I will go through each of them as we use them. Plotting, which is a big thing I find these useful for. And I've just got them in order that I would use these. And followed by some like world building stuff if you were wanting to try like fantasy. You could give these a go. And then writing itself, a template there. I also have character. But yeah, so there's 2 ways you could go about it once you have one of these made. The first is if you just want to do like your brainstorming in one novel and don't mind that the chats aren't available elsewhere, you could just have a dedicated brainstorming novel and and like once you've got your brainstorming, move it over. Or, and this is what I think is more useful, is like we have here with template collection rubber duckies, we can go create novel, use template novel, go to template collection, and use that as a Codex template. So right now, Codex details don't copy over, so we will have to do a little bit of manual work, but you know, we're not afraid of that. So we'll call this book 3, and then let's I'm trying to look for a name that inspires me to story. Hey, Joe. The red sun. But okay, let's go for Sea of Silence. That's the so we go create. Now, obviously, we have all of our things here. So I'm going to quickly go and set custom categories for them. So category, character, analysis, plotting. And it's very easy. You can just copy and paste the information and put them in the description for your own. Analysis. Character. Character, I think. Plotting. character. If at any point you have questions, just like hit me up and I can either answer them straight away or at the end, depending on where we're up to in the stream and how relevant it is. But I'm happy to answer anything. This is not a comprehensive template. It was just an example. Most things won't matter. But I figured like most people have like their own character templates. This was more just an example of the kind of thing you could do. This is world building, writing, analysis. Okay, so that took us like, you know, a minute to while I was chatting. It's not hard, but we now have a story, like a novel for our story to go in. So the first thing I was going to look at is like, okay, well, let's see how we can do some plotting with this. Now, I like to use, I will put, so I've got like, obviously the number 1 isn't needed in the alias. So I was like, okay, I've given that short form. And like literally you can just say, use the story pitch for this. But I want to give some kind of brainstorming, I think. So I'm going to make a new custom category for just the novel and call this novel. And oh, no worries, Cicely. You can always replay if there's anything that you don't quite get. That's totes fine. Do I put it? Yeah, I think I'm going to add another option to this and call it novel. And these are just plain and they're for, so category novel and just for anything that's within the actual novel itself. So I'm going to go new entry, other, and call this brainstorming. And so when I have some brainstorming, we can put this in. I want to have something in there before we go to the AI, just so I've got something to kind of play with, and something that like is from my head. So, I mean, either holler some ideas at me, or I'm gonna have a think as well. I'm thinking maybe political comedy. I know that sounds weird. Plays on the phrase, but also the pun, as this is set. Politics, C, what are the key words? Okay. Sea of Silence, political comedy that plays on the phrase, but also the pun. Politics, C, perhaps some kind of vocalization, communication that is not sound-based. We can have a think. So that's gonna be my brainstorming. I don't know how this is gonna work, but so we've got this, and I'm going to put the brainstorming into category novel, and I will open up my plotting. So I will pin as I use each. What's that? As I use each codex, I will pin them here so that you can see what I'm using. I think that will be most beneficial. So I'm going to go into chat. Just one moment. Let me just check my AI connections. I'm all good. Right. So we're going to call this Sea of Silence Brainstorming Sonnet 3.7. I like to try and give name my chats as soon as possible because otherwise I forget. Basically. Okay. Okay, so please write 5 different story pitches, and you can see this is highlighted from here. We had to add in the plural because normally Novelcrafter notes pluralization from just like adding S, but obviously this is ES, so we have to do that. From the brainstorming document, or using the brainstorming document as inspiration. So you can see, okay, so introduce the main character, when, now. So it's doing in structure. It has got these. It's got, okay, 5 pitches. Sweet. Okay, so Senator has built a career on eloquent speeches and passionate advocacy. When a mysterious illness suddenly renders her unable to speak during a crucial debate, she discovers a bizarre connection between her voice and the inexplicable silence that's fallen over the coastal waters of the district. Now Marina must... Oh my god, Marina as well. Perfect name, like punny. Yeah. See, Marina's a great name that it's picked, and then it goes to like AI-isms again. The corporate conspiracy behind both their affliction and the dying ocean before the upcoming vote that could determine the fate of the world's seas. That might be a bit too political for me. Okay, diplomat Theo Chen. Coral reefs. Like coral reefs. Oh my god. Now she must form an unlikely alliance with her loudest political opponent to restore sounds to the seas. If any of you have any favorites, let me know. I'm just kind of like reading through these, getting an idea, getting vibes. I quite like that. I also love her name. Like, oh, the pun. Like, this would be so farcical. Like, I can get behind that. Jackson Tides. Coral Reeves needs to be yeah, Coral Reeves needs to be a character regardless of the pitch. Waverly, because waves. Okay, that feels also a little bit too close. Okay, let's go. Pitch 3, Coral Reeves. I like that. Yeah. Okay. Let's just call this the pitch. Or concept. Okay. Pitch 2 is totally not a political comedy here, but I like it as a horror concept. Yeah, it's not a comedy at all, but I like this. I think this can work. I will go through some of the other things before going back and editing the pitch. So what I'm going to do next is some disaster brainstorming. Great. I like pitch 3 the best. It is funny, and the naming of the main character is great. I want to lean into the comedy aspect. Let's now do our disaster brainstorm for this story. Oh, I spelled that wrong. Disaster brainstorming. Let's now do our disaster brainstorming. So, when given a story pitch, please brainstorm 3 lists of potential disasters that may occur during the story. I want each list to focus on a different aspect, so interpersonal disasters, i.e., between our protagonists and their allies, the community, or other sorts of social based holdbacks. External forces succeeding in their plots to move forward on the proverbial chessboard, and disasters that result from the protagonist having done something earlier in the story. Now, this one's good because, like, other than like the first disaster, or like the thing that kind of like kicks them in the butt to get going, a lot of the disasters should come from like either the protagonist's like hubris and like overconfidence, or something they do by mistake, and like basically they're just kind of like their own worst enemy. It helps kind of helps in the whole like, you know, y'all rooting for them and stuff. So let's give this a go. Boop. I like, maybe instead of a political opponent, maybe it's like some kind of like activist or something like anti-government. Okay. Yeah, I think just having everything in the codex, it also means you know where things are. You don't have to think or copy and paste. Like, you've got all your frameworks there. And like AI is really good. Like, because this just goes like, if you go on the prompt preview, like this is all just added in like your system message. Like, it's not in the user message. It just pulls it up from above, which I think is really cool. And close that, go new entry, other, and call these disasters. Um, I'll select 3. If any like called people as well, let me know, because like I'm just trying to. I shouldn't be thinking too hard about this. Um, I like that as one. I mean, I guess the I guess the silence occurring will be one of them, but um that could work. Number 4. I'm trying to think of things that are a little bit more funny though. Um okay. And now I'm just like in silence as I'm like looking at this. I'm like, Kate, it literally doesn't matter. This is an example. You're not actually writing this story. Um, um, right. We've got 3. Let's go. So we've got our 3 disasters. Okay, now I'm going to use, once I've done these, I'm going to take the story pitch we've got, add these both to our novel. Okay, so I'm going to now be like, let's now work with the snowflake framework. Step 1, using the Sea of Silence concept and disasters to inspire our paragraph. So we can see here, this is what the step is. Come up with 3 variants, please. New Atlantis. Reed Bass. Although I like the idea of New Atlantis sinking. Like, okay, it's a bit on the nose. I'm kind of there for it. Talk show radio host Maxwell Volume. Decibel Jones. Oh my god. Okay, I think I'm gonna go with variant 1. So I'm not going to do all of steps because I'm kind of giving a taste of this. But I'm going to, let's use variant 1 for step 2. Actually, before we do this, we're going to add some more characters. So we're going to start off with Maya Coral Reeves, character. Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. I am all here for this. We have New Atlantis, location, boop, add detail, category novel. We have Reed Bass. I think now at this point we want to what are the themes explored in variant 1? So we can get our theme of the story. Other Communication is important, but there are many ways of achieving this. I like that. Actually, there. That's more. There you go. Our story theme. So now I'm going to go back into chat. We're starting a new thread. Let me just add this to novel. Okay, I'm going to go into character creation. Okay, I need your help to make a cast of characters for our story, Sea of Silence. I might make... We already have Coral and Reed. But we need to flesh these out. We need to flesh out the cast. Use the template and the naming conventions guide to come up with the various characters. I like farcical names that I'd like to maintain the on the nose naming for the characters. So I'm trying now to combine two templates and I'm giving it a lot more information. We're just seeing how things go. Okay, let's brainstorm 10 alternative names for Pearl Chen using the naming conventions sheet. I like Milo Drift though. I'm going to go on to extract Codex entries. That's still there. New entry. Don't we already have... Oh, that was Coral Reed, not Marina. Okay, I will add them all. Okay, Brook Tides was already there. To be fair, I could just stick her, use one of the other names that we've got, on one of the other characters and just like take that. do I want? Do we have Brooke? No. Okay, we have our characters. Now, what I'm going to do is make a new entry, other. I'm going to call it characters with a Z. And under relations, I am going to add in all our characters. Oh my god, we have 2 Brooks. Oops. I will change that. So I've just put all the names in so they will get pulled up. So again, we're using the Codex as a shortcut. River Wades. There you go. So now we can go back into our original chat and be like, okay, let's go on to step 2 with variant 1. For reference, here are our characters. Please ensure that the story has a varied cast. It isn't just 1 or 2 people. So if we go back into our plotting, we are looking at expanding each sentence into a full paragraph. So we'll see how it does with this. Okay, that's cool. I'm going to add that as a plot. Like, we're doing this for an example. I've not got the time to edit everything. Which is annoying because, like, if I was going to go about this properly, I would edit everything, make sure there's no AIisms, make sure it makes sense. But I want to use this to now go back into characters. We've got like our plot, and now I want to have a look. So I'm gonna go new chat, staying in general purpose. Hey, I'd like to go into more depth about our protagonist, Maya. Oh, Coral. I'll just call it Coral. Coral. Using the overall plot, please help me explore her character contradictions using the template provided. Now, the character contradictions is kind of being like, okay, well, strong characters often contain meaningful contradictions. So we're wanting these. So I'm going to see how I've realized I didn't add in the story theme. I'm going to make this into a global entry. Tracking always include. Okay, this was good. But I realized I should have stated that the character's weakness should be directly related to the story theme, as Corey would say. Okay, so the first thing is one strength that becomes a weakness in certain context. So communication precision versus limited expression range. So she's good at communicating, but she is overly reliant on one method of communication, and she's like suddenly like, oh god, like she's yeah, I guess she's kind of like she's like my way or the highway. Um Okay, I like that. While she publicly advocates for progression, she privately filters out any viewpoints that oppose hers. One relationship where they behave contrary to their usual pattern. Oh my god, I'm imagining they do this like big ass mime thing on TV. Oh, beautiful. Okay, so we've got this. Um, Please write one paragraph about Coral dancing this into um four sentences max. Because I can imagine now a really big, I bet it's going to be long sentences. Yeah. Let's rewrite halving in length and removing any details that come up multiple times. Yeah, that'll do. Copy Coral. Boop. So we have her like contradictions, which kind of shows like her strengths and weaknesses kind of at the same time. But what about like other things, like her want, needs, and fears? What about her need, fear triangle? How is this shown for Coral through the story? And so, like, you can also see that these templates aren't perfect. They're not, you've got to still like interact with them, but this is really just helping kind of get you started. You know the prompts, you can just use the templates and be like, okay, well, this is done. If you have your own favorite character sheet, you can then like, okay, condense this all into this format. And this helps you actually, like, if we were then to go into Coral's sheet and make like, okay, well, what are her motivations, her goals, her fears? You can put all of these in, and it's building up that kind of the deeper bits about the character that you won't necessarily think about. So I have no idea what Coral looks like, but I know that she is terrified of being wrong, that she likes precision and order, and that she's resistant to going back, to looking back. Um, and that she has like, you know, she has good intentions, but she doesn't always live up to those. It doesn't really matter what her fashion style is. You probably will then make that reflect her personality afterwards. Um, Oh, I like that. This sabotages her ability to prepare for the hush, and she's created an echo chamber that reinforces her own viewpoint rather than challenging potential blind spots. Well, that's not close to home, is it? um, yeah, I mean this is great. I'm all for this. Um, and let's take this all a step further. We're then gonna go and right, actually I'm gonna say, can we summarize this analysis now into some concise graphs on goals, motivations, fears, etc. So I'm going to copy all of this. I'm just going to plop this into Coral's sheet. And we're now going to go into, yeah, the hush is good. Like, it's kind of like, it feels very like evocative. So I'm going to go into chat. We're now going to go and try some role playing. Um, you'll take on the role of Coral. Okay, so what kind of questions do you want to ask her? Okay, I like that actually. She's just like immediately like, let's move. Okay, I'm really happy actually with that. That's it feels like how I envision her. And I was very interested actually as well. So you may have noticed that I said, how do you like to relax with your family? Because I didn't want to, if I said, how do you like to relax at home? I kind of figured that would give or would lead into the Coral lives alone. She's like, work focused. And so I was trying to kind of like give an in to being like, oh, maybe she does have a family. But it makes it seem like even if she does have a family, they're very like not the priority. And so I can totally imagine like if we were then doing this story, like a subplot of like her marriage falling apart, or like if she had a teenage daughter, there being like lots of angst and that kind of like mother daughter like headbutting. I think that would, and like the lack of communication there being like a small personalized version of the chaos that's going on in real life. You know what I mean? I think that's a really cool contradiction that you could then take and use. And that's just from like role playing like two lines. So I think it's kind of like, yeah, um, it sparks ideas and keeps going. Um, I feel in most with the pet child parent adult, she's definitely a parent most of the time. Are there any other? Okay, well let's also right. Let's now take a look at. Let's go back to the original chat. I think. And I want to let's look a bit more at New Atlantis and look at the consequence chain. Um, the dominant cultural value is, what is the dominant cultural value? I guess sustainability. And okay. So because of this value, dominant cultural value being sustainability, it's then going to go into, okay, well, three daily customs or rituals, major institutions, recurring conflict, ways that this manifests differently across the social classes, and explaining how it's evolved over time. We're taking this and we're kind of like building into the identity of the city. Oh, okay, I like that. Okay, so immediately apps, there's technology. I can absolutely imagine, absolutely, imagine people tracking their consumption. Um, Maybe not the families gathering, but I think like there would definitely be people who would check and then be like constantly. Oh, I can imagine. Oh, it would have so many mental health issues, but I can imagine it being a big thing. Um, oh, I like that. That feels like almost religious, but in a like in a pagany way, like a modern day pagan way. Okay. Okay, that's interesting. Having the council like based on the different things that make the city run. My God, imagine if you hadn't contributed enough and there's like a 45-year-old still in school. That'd be awkward. New Atlantis constantly struggles with balancing technological innovation against ecosystem preservation. Who believe that we should improve on nature, and harmonizers who advocate minimal and okay, yeah, that is a very interesting conflict. Um, I can imagine that being something maybe like our two protagonists have. Um, yeah. Elite minimalism versus functional stability, sustainability. Okay, that's giving me a lot to think about with this. And I think that's the thing. These are all, giving you something to think about. Um, you can just keep going. And I invite you all to play around with these templates. If we go back into Notion, they're all here. I've added them. You can just copy them into a novel of your own and just have a load of fun. Like these are just you can really like start getting into the depths of a story quite quickly. And you could also use these for novels that you're already working on. Like you may have all the plotting stuff, but you're like, okay, no, I really want to like now expand on the world building, or I want to um analyze the intentions in dialogue. And yeah, or you want to like make some more characters. Um, so yeah, does anyone have any questions? If not, we'll finish. We'll wrap up. But yeah, this has been really fun. The last when we were testing these templates, we did a story about how everyone could speak the language of one animal, but it was randomly assigned and didn't necessarily make sense. Like, a Scottish person could speak wombat or something. And it was about the story ended up being about a lady who could speak to houseflies, and she was approached by rubber ducks who have the ability to communicate to both real ducks and humans, and it was crazy. But it worked with that as well. Like if it can work with a story about about dangers being of yeah it was quite something. But yeah, this is all, it's all a lot of fun. Yeah, in our world, rubber ducks were universal translators. They just did everything. Oh, thank you, Grid. I'm glad that you enjoy the streams. Like I know that it's a lot to watch at one point, like an hour of content. Um but I really, yeah, I hope you guys like get something from it and just enjoy, because I really enjoy these and making them and presenting. And yeah, um not sure what we'll be doing next week. Maybe continuing with prompting. I'll need to have a think, or if there's any requests that you have as well for things for me to cover in streams, in future streams as well, let me know. Um, but yeah, I guess if no one has any questions, I will head off. Have an amazing week. Happy writing. Hope you enjoy your use of Novelcrafter. And I'll see y'all soon on Wednesday. Bye.